friends, it's Liz, and welcome to the next video in the series called #Collection Inspection. This segment is called Decks That I Really Like But Don't Love Yet. And these are going to be decks that are going to be staying in my collection, but that they have very specific purposes. So I really enjoy them, but they're not decks that call me or call to me regularly. So when certain times of the year comes around, certain moon phases, that's when I will be drawn to these specific decks. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now I'm going to start with the Spirit Within Tarot. Now this may surprise you because it's either a deck that you really like or you really don't. And I was on the fence about this deck for some time, but I kind of discovered something. So here are the backs. I have not edged it, and it's got a very glossy laminate, almost similar to the Guardian Tarot that was in another previous video of mine. So I was doing a beginning of the year spread, and I was thinking what deck would go really well for this, and this deck came to me because it is really good at being that it's in silhouette form. It gives me this vibe of like I have yet to manifest this energy. So it's, you know, December or January, and I'm starting to think about what are my goals for this year. It hasn't happened yet, and just the fact that they're in silhouette form kind of it makes me think like I can embody this image or this character or this energy. And it does have a very masculine leaning vibe, so I guess there are more masculine figures in here, which is fine because that yang energy is kind of exactly what you need to have the motivation to manifest all of your dreams and your goals. So literally it comes out once a year probably. So I've used it the last 2 years, and it's been really effective, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know, do you have this deck? Has it been a deck that you've had and rehomed for some reason? Like the World card is masculine. And it's got, like, it tackles the images really well. The, you know, the meaning of the card. It does that in a very succinct way. And I love the rays of light going on. It's very powerful, especially with the colors. It's very vibrant. So let's take a look at the general color palette. You know, each suit is color coded. So you have the swords in yellow, and the wands are in this like rusty orange color. The yellow is in the background there. But I really like it. So let me know, do you have this deck? Is it something that you still have in your collection? Has it been something that you use? Have you neglected it? And what do you think? So that is the Spirit Within Tarot by Stephen Bright. Next is the Playful Heart Tarot by Kitten Chops. And this deck is strictly for inner child work. I wasn't sure, oh yes, I kept the All Things Wonderful Are Readily Available. I kept the seal on. I like to do that. I did that with my Pagan Otherworlds, which I also believe that they were printed from the same expert playing card company. I want to say that, especially since the card, the linen finish and the size is pretty much like almost, I would say it's very similar. I wouldn't say it's identical, but it's very similar. So the reason why I purchased this was because here are the backs. So cute. It comes with a little guidebook as well. It's very, very light-hearted guidebook. I feel like this artwork is very childlike in a way that makes me feel like a child illustrated them. And that's in no way a negative. And the reason why I choose this over some of the other childlike decks in my collection, like the Crystal Unicorn Tarot or the Mons Tarot or the Whispering Spirits, which I'll show you in upcoming videos, is because of that style of artwork. Though the other decks, the artwork is a lot more finished. Like you can see, like the line work is very just free. There's no restrictions. Even the facial expressions, it's very emotive, this deck. I love the cardstock, and the energy is totally, it brings me back to maybe some of the images that I used to draw in childhood. And that sense of wonder and awe and just general freedom. I feel like as we get older, we lose our sense of creative freedom. We start to get more restricted. We start to get more serious, more practical. And there's something so alive and just, I don't know what else to say about it. There's something alive. It's definitely alive. Like, look at that. Look at his eyes. I feel like when I use this deck, my inner child does speak to me. It makes me remember what I used to feel like. And it makes me think about the areas that I need to focus on for greater healing. Because we've all denied our inner child in some way. So this is a deck that I use specifically for that purpose when I feel like there's an issue that keeps repeating in my life that possibly has some connection to the past. And that is the Playful Heart Tarot by Kitten Chops. Here we have the Guardian Angel Tarot cards by Radleigh Valentine. This was originally a Doreen Virtue and Radleigh Valentine deck, but this is the newer version. I do believe that this was out of stock for some time. I'm not sure if it's back in stock, but I do know that it will be. This is my hug deck, and I've trimmed the edges. I've edged it in this soft pink to kind of match the backs. It's got a very Victorian yet grandmotherly feel. And a lot of people use this deck as an oracle, and I do as well when I need it. It used to be a deck that I would pull a card at night just for like a soft message that would help me let go of some of the obstacles of the day or something that might be weighing on my mind. I do really enjoy the artwork and the little blurb down at the bottom. I rarely go to the guidebook, which does offer some additional insight into the cards, but it's enough. It gives you something to kind of soothe you, chew on as you go to sleep. It doesn't have to be right before bed, but that's what I was using it for. And I alternated my before bedtime one card pull from this deck to my Tarot of Transformation. This is like a little bit easier. This is a quicker reading because the Tarot of Transformation, I would always want to go into the guidebook and read and think about my day and how the message might apply. Do you have this deck? Is it something that interests you? Do you like the artwork? Does it feel too vintage? let me know. So this is the Guardian Angel Tarot by Radleigh Valentine. Next up is the Lily White Tarot by Celia Melville. And this deck is still available. It was unavailable for a little bit of time, but I've had this deck for some time, and it took me a while. It comes with this little pamphlet of just some keywords and things like that. It took me a little bit of time to figure out what category is this in. Is it an earthy deck? Is it an airy deck? But I recently realized that it's a watery deck. It's an emotional deck, specifically because of the way in which she applied her watercolor. Emotions to me can be very confusing, can be very messy, and it just evokes that, and sketchy, you know. So even something like this, it almost feels somewhat unfinished, although it is. But like no color was applied here, so it feels very in the works, and so to some degree. And I feel like we're all works in progress. So the watery feeling, it's very flowing. It can be very confronting. It's simply beautiful. The artwork, the coloration. This is one of my favorite cards. This is one of my favorite tower cards. So the lightning has come and struck off the antlers of this deer. And at the time, it feels so devastating. It feels like the world has come to an end, but they will grow back, and he will move on and grow from this experience. So it's just beautiful. And I love how in the suits it kind of, you'll see the snake in the pentacle suit. So each suit kind of has a specific animal. This is another favorite death card. And the courts are interesting. The knights are headless. Look, I mean, he's literally biting his arm. Yeah, so here's the knight of pentacles. But it's just so fascinating. I love this Hierophant. It's like the close-up of reading a book of knowledge and holding the keys to that knowledge to share. So because I have determined that I apologize for all of the noise in the background. Once again, we have our neighbors, different neighbors, working on their siding. I guess this is the year to do it. So because it's so watery, it is going to be a deck that I will turn to for understanding confusing emotions. And I suppose all tarot could do that. But when you find a deck that has the energy that taps into that, I feel like the messages come through clearer, and you're able to assimilate that message even better. So this is, I mean, look at that Judgment card. This is the Lily White Tarot by Celia Melville. And here we have 4 decks all together, and I wanted to show these all together because the artwork is very similar. All have that celestial energy that I would like when I tap into the manifestation and the releasing of different moon phases, and when I do readings for those moon phases. So yes, it gets into the energy of what's beyond right now. Like I was showing the Devas of creation and how important that is to me, because it taps into the energy of the universe and makes it more accessible, makes it more something that I can embody and not just think of as something that's out there. And this does that as well. So let's get into it. So this is the Moonchild Tarot, this is the Starseed Tarot, this is the Starseed Oracle, the Work Your Light Oracle, and the Yogic Oracle. Is that right? Yes, the Yogic Path Oracle. And these two oracles are about what's in the superconscious, basically. This is more of a blending between the superconscious and the grounded, earthy element here, the subconscious realm. So this offers more practical advice on how I can apply the messages I get from these three oracles into my everyday life. The Moonchild Oracle gives me the main message. These give me more of a what's in my mind, things that are not as tangible, and this is more tangible, if that makes any sense. And as you can always tell, Rambo's walking around. Do I need these two oracle decks? No. I have removed some of the cards that I don't resonate with, but I was thinking of doing something similar to what Dawn Michelle over at Boho Tarot did and combined her two decks. I'm not sure that would be like one super giant oracle, because I was trying not to duplicate energies, and I feel like there are duplicate energies between these two decks. Like, I love that Mintaken, longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. So she's a being in another realm, in another planetary system somewhere out there in the universe. And someday humanity might be there, Someday, millions of years from now, hopefully we haven't destroyed each other before then, but hopefully we'll be a more evolved species, that we can live in harmony. And with these decks, I really feel like it holds the light. It takes us away from the troubles of what's going on in the world today and refocuses us to our highest potential. And that's what I really like about it, because it's so easy to just get caught up in what's wrong, all the negative. And the colorations are just so soft and otherworldly, ethereal feeling. It just transports you, and I love that. So this is the Moonchild Tarot, the Starseed Oracle, the Work Your Light Oracle, and the Yogic Path Oracle. The Bohemian Gothic has more of a haunting feeling, and the Lydia Tarot, it has that haunting feeling as well, but it's got a little bit more playfulness. And that's not to say that the Bohemian Gothic doesn't, because there are some decks or some cards that definitely make you laugh, So here's some of the keywords: grace, kindred spirits. Let's go back. Innocence, discernment. And it definitely has a macabre feeling, the Lydia Tarot. And I wanted to show you the amazing guidebook in just a second. I do know that the Bohemian Gothic guidebook is going to be reprinted possibly next year, and hopefully also will be the deck, but fingers crossed on that one. That was kind of speculation. It's all speculation at this point. And I do enjoy collage decks. This Bohemian Gothic deck definitely has more of a blue cast, so I feel like these pair a little bit better as far as aesthetics, coloration, but they definitely work. And there are just some cards in both of these decks, but especially in the Bohemian Gothic deck, that you have that Gothic architecture, the crumbling. It's magnificent. And this Queen of Wands is spectacular. So I like to alternate these around that time of year. When fall starts rolling around, I will use more of my Majestic Earth Tarot paired with my Touchstone Tarot. But then come October, these are the decks that I pull out. And it gets me into that kind of spooky time or frame of mind that I really enjoy. And if I do choose to pair it with an oracle, this is the one I will definitely pair it with. So something like this, you know, it makes you laugh. Nosferatu, just showing up. And I would love to have the guidebook to kind of get a feel for what it says about that card. The Fool with the pumpkin head. It's perfect. So let me show you the guidebook for the Wilhelmina's Tarot. It comes with two, actually. So here's the standard guidebook. And it talks very little about the artwork. But in the grimoire, let me zoom out just a little bit. It goes into the most amazing depth. And I really, really enjoyed reading this because it put me in that frame of mind of the fall, of the harvest, of, you know, reaping what you sow. I mean, how adorable is that? Page of Swords. It's amazing. It was almost like a good book that you snuggle up with. It was great, and I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to make it a yearly ritual. So that is the Bohemian Gothic Tarot, the Madame Lydia Wilhelmina's Tarot, and the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. Another deck that I use for the Christmas time frame or the Yule time frame is the Winter Waite Santa's Helpers. Now I have had other editions of this deck, but this one actually came after the holiday, after the Indiegogo campaign was finished. So I wasn't able to use this. Look at that back, pink. I would have rather it be red, but that's okay. So I will definitely be using this come Christmas time of this year. I really like the changes that they made. The cardstock is really thick. It's really good. I love the mugs, the chalices with the holly on it. I will definitely be getting a special bag for this. And to be honest with you, I am not a huge Rider-Waite person. That I like to use it. I don't feel a connection so much to the artwork, possibly because of the overuse of symbolism. Let me zoom in just a little more. Perhaps it's the facial expressions, maybe it's not there enough for me, but I feel like this is different enough, and some of that symbolism is kind of removed. It's not so busy, and it definitely has that holiday vibe. So I'm really going to enjoy using this and getting in the spirit with this deck come December. I think there's an extra card as well in this deck. So this is the Winter Waite Santa's Helpers by Tarot Collectibles. Next up is kind of a mishmash of things that I like to do when I really want to connect and ground to the earth, to Mother Nature, to the trees. These are going to be decks and my OM staves that I would bring with me. Let's say I went to a forest preserve or someplace where I just want to set out a picnic blanket, grab a lunch, and just kind of chill for a few hours and just listen to the peacefulness of Mother Nature, listen to the birds, the water, the wind through the trees. These are what I would bring with me. And this deck is a trimmed version of, let me get the box, the Spirit of Nature Oracle, Ancient Wisdom from the Green Man and the Celtic Ogham Tree Alphabet. So I use these in conjunction with each other because they have the name of the type of tree that corresponds with the woods of these Ogham staves. So I will use them together to kind of get a better connection to the energy of these trees. And I love the faces that you would see in the Green Man. And I really feel like that helps to kind of personalize the energy. And as I was saying in my last video about the angel oracle, angel blessings, that's what it is. Putting a name to these angels helps to make them something that I can connect with easier. And I feel like these faces do the same thing. And then also when I pull this card again, I'm going to remember what the guidebook said. So that is the Spirit of Nature Oracle. And take a look at these. I mean, if you're going to connect with nature, having a piece of nature helps to do that. And the Tree Whisper Oracle, I had this bag made. This is very similar to the energy of the Spirit of Nature Oracle because of the faces. And you can feel, I'm going to zoom in. And I think I've shown this deck already before, but you can feel the energy of the trees. You find the faces in there everywhere. I mean, can you see, like, it feels like a face, shoulders, torso, legs, and the name is Peace, so it almost looks like he's meditating, but all it is a mirror image of the tree. It's beautiful. Grace. Like, look at the face. Can you see that? Looks very peaceful, very graceful. There's another face down here. And the cardstock is very lovely. It's matte. I'm trying to think what it reminds me of. It's definitely not a rose petal finish, but it almost has that same, I don't want to say spongy, but it feels like soft, kind of. It's not in a bad way at all. It's really lovely, as the Roots and Wings Oracle. So Boundary. Look at this. That is amazing, isn't it? And it almost looks like wings here. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Look at the face. I could just do this all day, but I'm not going to. So we have the Tree Whisper Oracle, Spirit of Nature Oracle, and my Ogham staves, which I got on Etsy. Another deck that I use for emotion work, those really difficult emotions, I would say this is a deeper dive into emotions than my Lily White Tarot is. This is the Marielle first edition, and I had this bag made because this box is ridiculous. I mean, this has to be the biggest tarot box I have. And I do try and keep them because if, you know, for some reason, if I ever do decide to rehome them, I'm sure somebody's going to want them. or want the box. Here are the backs, definitely glossy. I've trimmed and edged this deck, which was a challenge because the edging, the borders were very uneven, but I enjoy it so much more now because I can get my hand around it. What can I say about this deck? This, everything this. The High Priestess and the Hierophant card are two of my favorites, and the reason why I had to have the first edition. You see that veiling, right? You know, I gotta say this deck is very sensual. There's a lot of references to like ejaculation, to feminine reproductive parts, and it's all about like putting two elements together and creating something new, like the act of creation. It is so visceral, right? And that's what I love about this deck. I mean, how penetrating are those eyes in the King of Wands? And there's this bubbling energy that's coming to the surface, ready to explode. Oh, it's too much sometimes. But again, this segment of this series is all about decks that I really like but don't love yet, because I don't work with them that often. They serve a specific purpose, but I know that I'm never going to get rid of them because they tap into something that I can't get with other decks. And I love how Marie White, interconnects these suits. Like this harkens back to the Chariot. And again, those eyes asking you about, you know, the purity within you, the white horse. And this is a reference to Thoth. And here's the Hierophant card. A lot of people were disturbed by this, and I guess I understand, and it is kind of creepy with the mutated babies and the misshapen heads and the spindly fingers. But this definitely has a shadow aspect of faith and religion in general. So you have the congregation suckling off the teat of the church. And what is that? Is that blood? I mean, it's like this, it's almost too red, and it's not present on the other breast. And you almost feel like she is giving, but not in a healthy way. And they're taking, but not in a healthy way either. There's definitely some codependency happening here, and there's definitely deep-seated ego issues, I feel, for that. There's no freedom in this image. And that says so much, and it kind of speaks to me about my own experiences. So that's why this deck will never leave my collection, because there's no other Hierophant card. Maybe in one of Ciro Marchetti's decks, but it doesn't get to that depth. It's just so, this deck is so raw, and it rips the scab off. And I know that's disgusting. And another, oh my gosh, this death card. We're all there, but we're all going to be there. We're facing our own mortality. And the way that these are depicted, you know, the fusion of the masculine and the feminine energy within ourselves, that is the whole point of tarot. That is the end. That is the world. It's when we can come to terms with all parts, both polarities, and unify them into one healthy whole that is not to be touched by the material realm. Gosh, I could really go on and on, but I won't. Again, here's another, this was redone in the second edition, the Three of Swords. It's stunning because you have this bird who's captured these flying swords in the air, and it could easily have punctured the bird's body, but it didn't, because the bird is moving with that pain, with that struggle, and is able to contain it. It's amazing. So this is the Marielle Tarot by Marie White, first edition. Okay, 2 more decks. This is our second to last one. This is the Art History Tarot for Past Lives. And I really enjoy this deck. I like the imagery. Let me move this aside. This is the second Red Orchid Publishing deck that I have. I enjoy the imagery. Let's zoom in a little bit. Look at those backs too. I love that it has the tarot card, the Four of Pentacles, and it tells you what the imagery is of, the allegory of avarice, and it gives you a keyword. So you can kind of tap into multiple things, or you can choose to see what you want to see. Like this is the Star, but it's also Europe. So when you're doing past life work, you can use it strictly as a tarot. You can use it as a geographical possibility for that particular lifetime that you're exploring. Whether or not you choose to incorporate that or not. And it works very, very well. And it doesn't shy away from the difficult elements to heal those past life traumas. Because really, if you think about past lives and what we're here to do, chronic illness, you know, how would that affect one's life? And how would that leave echoes of trauma in this life? Maybe a feeling of unease that you really can't put a finger on. And horrible things that must have happened to all of us in previous lives, and that continue to happen today, leaving those karmic scars that we still have to heal and release. But whoa, what a story would it tell? And I often like to take that objective approach, and instead of being so connected to the goings on of our daily lives, like step above that and think about how incredible, absolutely incredible, the evolution of humanity is. How far we've come and how far we have yet to go. And I often think when I die that I'll have a guide, and this guide will kind of take me through the centuries, from the beginning up until present day, and even into the future. Like I'll be able to visit the battle on the beaches of Normandy, and I'll be able to, without feeling pain, I'll be able to experience what these magnificent human beings experienced in all of their fragility. And I'll be able to see the the building of skyscrapers. And I don't know if you've seen that image of the workers on a scaffolding up high above the city, just eating their lunch without tethers or any type of harnesses or anything. Just, I don't know why that came to mind, but like I infinite vastness of space and watching it all come into being and dissolving as well. And so I like to look at it that way, that when we look at our past lives, we're taking a broader perspective and we're starting to detach from the egoic story, that's the word, the egoic story that we have surrounding our own lives. We can take it apart and look at it for what it really is and what it's actually trying to teach us, and not feel victimized by it. So this is the Art History Tarot for Past Lives. Lastly, I'm going to leave you with one of the creepiest tarots that I have in my collection, and that is the Black Tarot by Victoria Iva. This tarot has given me like some straight up crazy readings, especially if you're like at night, or if you dim the lights, maybe light some candles. Holy crap, can you get into some of the dark, deep recesses of the mind? And that is like scary a little bit, but it's also very, very interesting, but it's also very healing. So I have the Dark Memoir, and that is my go-to deck for shadow work, and that's really like about the tangible shadows, the things that I already know about. Okay, so the triggers that I already know about that I'm trying to work through to finally release, right? This deck kind of taps into those deeper shadows. Those shadows that if you were to gaze upon it, it would disappear in a flash. And it just exposes itself for just barely a moment before it's gone. And that's kind of how I think about this. This is like the unconscious mind, right? The Dark Memoir would be for the subconscious. This is the unconscious. And for me, you know, I like to consider myself a good person, and I think we all do, and we all are. But we can't kid ourselves that there are shadows there that, put in the right circumstances, we would become the thing that we judge the most, right? Isn't that, it's kind of like that reflection, or when we project our demons onto other people, and then that's what we see it in them, but the reason why it triggers us is because it's within us, and we don't like it, and we don't want to acknowledge it. Like look at this Empress. Like, you can see her leg and her belly, and what the hell is this? Is this a mouth? And you can almost see this, like, this spooky baby in there. Oh my gosh. 9 of Wands. Look at this 8 of Wands. Like, boom. It's kind of like in the Matrix, you see something twice, like deja vu, and you look back and you're like, whoa, what was that? And you really have to be in the right frame of mind. Like, don't ever do drugs and then use this deck, because you will lose your shit. I can guarantee you that. Not that I've ever done that, I'm just saying. I can imagine, right? So, that is it. This is the Black Tarot by Vivia Iva by Debray. And I don't know if it's still available. Like it kind of was, it was, and then it wasn't, but I will definitely double check and put it in the description box. So thank you for joining me today for decks I really like but don't love yet. But I have to admit that after going through these decks and talking to you about them and how much they stir emotion within me, I am definitely getting closer to that love connection with these decks. If you have any of these decks, I'd love to hear your experience with them. Are they on your wish list? Are any of these calling to you now? Do you resonate with any of the decks and the things that I said about them? I really hope that you enjoyed this. I'm going to be coming up with another similar topic to this. And as we go, as usual, I'm going to be coming into decks that I'm starting to question whether or not they belong in my collection. But these for sure definitely belong in my collection. So until next time, have a great day.